Hey everyone, I'm Mark,
I'm Gonzo.
and today we're giving you a one-night adventure called Trouble in Bone Gulch. All right, Gonzo. You know how it is as DM. You have the night everyone's coming. You have to plan something out tonight, ready for everybody tonight. What do you do? What do you? So we thought we'd come up with something to help them, right?
Yeah, this is one of our series of videos where we actually have an adventure pre-made, ready for you as a dungeon master to take and put into your game. And what we love about these are that they're available for any setting, just about.
Yes.
And they can be leveled up or down depending on the party and the group that you're running. So I think these are a lot of fun for us to make, and a lot of fun as dungeon masters to take and use, at least the parts that you like.
Absolutely. All right. So we have Trouble at Bone Gulch. And why don't you start us off by telling us a little bit about the setting here for our adventure?
Sure. Bone Gulch is going to be, actually, that's going to be the name of a ravine within this town. The town, we're going to call it Atherton. You name it what you want. And this is just a town along the route. Most of the time, we travel quite a bit in our campaigns. Your players accomplish something and then they're going to somewhere else.
Right.
And this is a great opportunity to drop this little town of Atherton anytime you want to, especially if you don't have anything prepared for that night and you need something quick. So the town of Atherton is a small farming town. It could be whatever town you make it, or call it a bunch of farmers. Yeah. Not very big, not super small. It's got the standard things. It's got an inn. It's got a blacksmith. It's got all the things you may need. There may even be a church there or something, word priest and that kind of thing.
Right.
And it's got a lot of farmers. They're run by a normal militia. That's their security. As soon as your players come up to the gate, they are greeted friendly, actually, by the guard and maybe two guards. And they say, hey, welcome to Atherton. Glad you're here. In fact, the mayor would like to meet you. Anybody new that's coming in, the mayor always likes to greet himself. So one of us will go get him and we can escort you. What are you looking for? So your players generally want a place to rest or to get a meal. So you take them to the inn, you take them to wherever you like, but the mayor's going to meet them there.
Okay.
And he's going to very happily engage with them. He's going to be a jovial guy. What was the name for this guy? I think it was
Roel Livingston.
Roel Livingston. He's going to be the mayor of this town. His family line's probably been in this area for quite a while. And he's got a task for you. Of course he has a task. And so his task is, hey, can you clear this trade route that we used to have open that's now been overrun by a pack of kobolds? And your party looks like they're perfect for what we need, Right. A little history on the trade route.
Yeah, so the trade route used to be, it went over a bridge that went over a old river, like a long time ago. There's a river there, but it's now become a ravine, and it's called Bone Gulch because of a battle that had it happened like many years ago, and it was such a bad, nasty battle that so many people fell in the water and they fell in the river, and they all died, and the bones all kind of sunk to the bottom. So now what you have with the water all gone is you have a series of old ancient bones and all in this big ravine. Well, somewhere about 10 years ago, the bridge went out, and so they had to create a detour underneath where the bridge was. So what they did was, their engineers figured out that they could tunnel down into there was an ancient temple. It had a corridor that just happened to go right underneath the water. The British might call it a subway because that's what they ended up creating. So they end up digging down a bit, got to this corridor, and this corridor runs all the way up there, and then it comes back out the other side. And that was the trade route for a while because they just hadn't got around to replacing. It takes a while for such a small town to replace a bridge.
And why replace it if you have another way over there?
Yeah, so they did kind of laziness, maybe a little bit there. But anyways, this was the trade route for a while. But at some point, it became infested with kobolds, and they just kind of stopped using it. And honestly, as a small town, they felt they're pretty self-sufficient, and they didn't really need anything per se. But now the mayor has got big aspirations. He's like, hey, I think we need to open that trade route again.
Yeah, he wants to raise the economy and everything, and the forest on that side, or whatever you decide as a DM to put in over there. Is going to be important to the mayor at this point to get this trade route opened back up, and that's what your adventuring party is entrusted with.
And the mayor encourages them to gear up like you normally do, but he's really, you've got to go see the blacksmith. We have a great blacksmith here. You need to go see him. And so they go and they see the blacksmith. The name is Rutledge Burke.
Okay.
And Rutledge is really a good salesman. He just sees them come in, and he's like, "Oh, you guys need to buy this and this and this," and he's trying to armor them all up. In fact, he seems, if someone has any wood staff or anything, "Oh, you don't need that. You need some metal on that thing," because he's a good blacksmith and all that. So
Sure.
he's been trying to encourage them on the. So that's his personality. He's really nice. He's really a good, strong salesman. Kind of pushy, he's trying to get them to buy stuff. And, the party probably gets the sense that you don't have a lot of people come this way, and, ooh, he's got some business.
Yeah.
So he's pretty psyched.
So the negotiation's right there. It's up to the DM and how much money the group has, but you can tell this guy's trying to get as much of it as he can of their gold and what they have. As Mark said, there's maybe not a lot of adventurers coming through this small town, and that's up to you, and you're running the game is how the bartering system's going to go. He's going to be amicable to the point where he's going to make sure they all are getting what they want.
Yeah.
At least in our minds, this is how we picture it.
So they gear up,
Yeah.
and they go down into this port. They're going down to go clear this out. And what happens the first?
So the first thing they're going to do is, as they get down there, it gets darker and dampier and whatnot. And as they come in, they kind of start to see signs of kobold, whatever those signs may be. And sure enough, they also see some scat on the ground, and you can have them roll investigation checks at that point. If they roll well enough, they're going to check that they're going to see that the scat has little pieces of almost like shavings of metal or something in there.
Yeah.
That may be important or may not.
That's all.
Well, we'll see.
That's strange.
So as they move on, also they may notice a couple crossbolts flying at them.
That's not good.
So they're going to have their first encounter, and this is their first actual battle where just 2 kobold scouts are going to see them coming.
Right.
They have night vision or dark vision, so they're going to be shooting at them.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that most adventuring parties, knowing what they're coming into, will be able to handle these 2 guys pretty quickly.
Right.
I envision that if one of them goes down, the other one tries to get out.
Yeah.
Whether they catch him or not is going to be up to the high rolls and up to the DM. If they catch him, they're gonna find out that there are more kobolds ahead, which they kind of expected. So if they don't, they know which way to go.
Okay.
So that's the first encounter.
And they come down. They have this encounter with these kobolds at first, but they keep going, and they go down, and they go down to where the corridor, where the detour goes down and hits the corridor, and they go just a little bit of the corridor, and they find it's blocked off.
Yeah.
Right. It's all been boarded up and all that, and there's a new detour off to the side. So that's kind of strange, no? Yeah. So, but they take off. It's like dug out and into dirt basically, but it's big enough for them to all travel down. Yeah. So they get to this big detour, and they detour along, and then what do they run into?
Well, they're going to detour around. They're going to come up to another wooden blockade, like almost like a portcullis, but made out of wood, thick beams of wood. And you can tell that it does rise and fall, and your players can easily tell that. And also, they'll see that there is a lever on the wall to their right, and in the room ahead, because they can kind of see through the portcullis, if the initial kobold scouts did not get away, then there's a few kobolds sitting around a table eating on something. And in a pretty large room, there's a fireplace there, a couple sconces on the wall, that kind of thing. If they did, if the kobold scouts did get away, then they won't see anything. In fact, the table will be flipped over. Probably a smart player with an investigation check may see the tip of a hat or something where they're hiding behind, hiding behind the table.
They're not really bright,
yeah, they're not too bright, but they're definitely trying to lay an ambush there. So that depends on what happened previously. Obviously, the lever probably opens the portcullis. It's up to the players. If they pull it, it actually is a trap that these crafty kobolds have laid. It's a pit trap which drops them into a large pit with a couple rust monsters in there.
Yeah, rust monsters are no good. Yeah, so they have to fight these rust monsters, which they are attracted to iron, which is in steel and anything else, metal.
Any metal.
Which, that's interesting. And so so they wonder where they got this idea of having a lot of metal.
Yeah.
So they have to fight these rust monsters, which is no easy task. I mean, we've had this in our previous video that rust monsters are pretty bad news. They wreck your armor.
Yeah, they wreck your weapons and your armor. If you hit them, your weapon gets damaged. If they hit you with those tentacles, your armor gets damaged, or your shield, or your weapon if they happen to hit that. But either way, your stuff starts to break down, if not get completely destroyed, as you're working on defeating these these rust monsters, and you can gauge or raise or lower their hit points depending on the level of party. You can put more in there if you want to. You can put more kobolds in there if you want to, or you can tone it down a little bit. So.
Yeah, you could have a family of rust monsters because we find that actually they've been bred for this purpose. That's why they're down in that trap. So there's they have to fight the rust monster. So let's say they get out of the pit.
Yeah, well, at the same time, the kobolds are like, aha, we've got you. So there's going to be a fight there. And I would assume in most parties, not everyone's going to fall into the trap.
Right.
So maybe some are fighting with the kobolds while others are down in the pit, having to get rid of these rust monsters to get out of the pit.
Right.
However it works out, eventually you're going to have to fight the 3 kobolds in there. One of them will be a leader. I think you named him, didn't you?
Vogue Firefist.
Okay.
Yeah, very good kobold name. Yeah. Strikes fear in your heart.
Yeah, sure does. So Firefist is kind of leading and barking orders.
Yeah.
At his 2 guys, and they are...
I see what you did there. Barking
orders, yeah. And they're trying to take you out. Again, I would assume that if you balance it right, the party will be able to probably overcome this, but it may be pretty tough. I mean, this could be easily fall into a TPK range with 2 rust monsters, 3 kobolds, and some of them down in the pit. This could be a TPK if you don't balance things right. Or you can just let it be as it is
and kill them all.
See how your players do. You know, they generally surprise.
But so let's say there are a few scenarios. They could end up wiping out the whole group. They kill the rust monsters. They kill everybody, and that's that. But what if they keep one of them alive and they question one of these kobolds? What do they get from out of
So the mayor promised a large reward if they were to be able to do this for him. So if they keep one, or they get one, or knock one out, or get one as for an informant, they basically will get the information from these kobolds that they've been working with the mayor and with the blacksmith. And they have this little side deal that when new people come into town, the mayor's not going to wipe their kobold group out. He's going to let them live there as long as these guys basically take out whoever comes sent their way. So the locals aren't ever sent in there. The militia's not sent in. Just adventuring parties are sent in. The kobolds take them out. Rust monsters are pretty tough. And they get to keep, anything non metal. The rust monsters will eat the metal. The blacksmith makes money by the adventuring party buying a bunch of stuff. Even if the adventurers escape or retreat or run out,
Wow.
Well, they're still going to have to repair their stuff, you know. And at the end of the day, I think the beautiful thing is that if they wiped them all out, then they go back, and then that leaves the dungeon master plenty of opportunity to role play with the mayor and saying, hey, good job. Now he has to actually pay these guys.
That wasn't part of the plan.
But no matter what went down, I would assume that at some point they're going to have to upgrade some of their armor and weapons that were injured or destroyed by the adventure. So they're still going to get some of that money on this side gig that these 2 clowns have going on here. So,
or maybe meant to expose the mayor and the blacksmith, the townsfolk, take up a collection because they're like really happy because they didn't know this was happening.
They didn't know this was going.
There's corruption in our government. Are you kidding me? And so that, I know, hard to believe. So that's a different way. So there's a lot of different angles. We kind of like that story, and we wanted this to be something malleable for the dungeon master to be able to use and use however they want. The PDF for this will be available on our Patreon page. So if you go to our Patreon, you can find the PDF version of this. It's coming soon. It'll be part of our digital content, and we'll have it all the details in there. So
there'll be a lot more to it. There's different things that we'll have, including pictures and that kind of stuff, and maybe a little map that you could change to make it the way you would like it as well. But
absolutely.
All right.
And with that,
class dismissed.